I wrote a letter one night to meet with her. She was supposed to be at this meeting, at an ABATE meeting in Monroe, and she didn't show. Later to find out that she said she feared for her life. And I appreciate y'all letting me tell Josh's story. I'm the mother of Josh Summerall, my oldest son, who was killed on his motorcycle when a careless driver pulled out of a driveway without coming to a complete stop. 1 second that could have saved his life. 1 second that it could have been her or her children had it been the other way around. 1 second that would have made all the difference in the world. Josh was 3 years old when he got his first three-wheeler, 4 when he got his first four-wheeler. He raced his bicycle at the age of 9 and rode a dirt bike at the age of 12. He raced a junior drag car, and when he turned 16, all he wanted was a motorcycle. I feared more than anything the other person. It was not that Josh wasn't experienced, mature, and or responsible. It's always the other person you have to look out for. Not looking, being in a hurry, talking on the phone, not stopping at that driveway for 1 second. That could be more deadly than anything. I last saw Josh Sunday evening after Thanksgiving 2008 when he drove home from his dad's house in Houston. He told me the horror of having a flat tire in his friend's car on a 6-lane interstate. He gave me the biggest hug ever, as he was glad to be home. 2 days later, contemplating on turning my truck towards his work, but I kept driving, and I called him instead. He had just turned 17 and was so independent. He just moved in with his friend. Even though I begged and cried for him not to go, as always, the last words to come out of his mouth at 4 p.m. that Tuesday, December 2nd, was, "I love you." I was in the middle of typing an email to Josh's bank. He had just paid a double payment online on his motorcycle, plus paid one of the notes the day before at the teller. He was wanting to pay it off early. The phone rang and I didn't recognize the number, but I knew it was a local number, so I answered it. I didn't recognize the voice, as she was a little hysterical, telling me to come to the ER. I said, "Why?" He said, or the voice said, which was my best friend, an ER nurse, fighting tears, telling me to just come. I can't describe what numb feels like. As I called my other friend that lives a mile from me, she was pulling up in my driveway already telling me to get in. As we raced, the pressure on my heart grew stronger. My chest hurt like someone were sitting on me. Why did I live 15 miles from the hospital? I thought as if I were dying. He had to be waiting for me. He had to be okay. I knew that Wendy called back to see how far I was, telling me to hurry, that it was critical. When I reached the ER door, she was waiting on me. She shook her head and cried before I got to her. I fell to my knees right in front of her. I screamed and sobbed as only a mother could that just heard of her child die. I spent the next few hours in disbelief. It took hours to make him presentable for me to even look at him. I still see his perfect eyebrows I stroked, the sideburns and the goatee he had grown out that I touched in disbelief, thinking he would open his eyes at any minute. He was really gone, though. I sat up half the night thinking how to tell his 8-year-old brother the next morning. It was months later before I even remembered that it was me that told him. I'm not sure what I tried to block out more, my pain or his. I know God was the only reason I didn't seek revenge on this person, but I can't say that I didn't think about it. I thought during the next 3 months after Josh's accident, the anniversaries would be the worst. His 18th birthday was 6 months away, and I had to do something to make a difference. This accident was in no way Josh's fault, and I wanted to use it to help others as well as bring motorcycle safety awareness to our community. I got to work. I talked to hundreds of people. I talked my way through the recovery of the loss of my son's life. It was my therapy. REV'n on the River, in memory of Josh Sumrall, has raised over $12,000 for local graduates to attend colleges in Monroe. I'll continue to tell people, kids of all ages, and even the most experienced driver, that it is always the other person that you have to watch out for. Had this person been thinking the same way, I may not be here today. It took 2 years for the ticket and the driver to reach the judge. She received 2 years supervised probation for causing the loss of my son's life. Part of her probation is to spend 240 hours with Louisiana ABATE, American Bikers Active Towards Education. I hope the men and women that fight for their rights to share the roadway are ready to work with this case and using the accused as they would have her to be used with their own family involved. Thank you all for your time.